Hello, welcome to the Snap UK, our second episode in a bumper week, whilst we have a threadbare squad.
3 people, and yet we talked more.
Exactly, yeah.
Because everybody got on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably really boring to listen to, but I really enjoyed the last hour. Yeah, if you're listening to this before you've heard our AFC rundown, all the news is in the AFC version of this podcast. What we're doing now is we're picking one need, if possible, for all the teams. So now the free agency is out the way. Draft is been and done. You know, what do these teams need to get off to a good start to the season? So we've done the AFC already. The next logical step, of course, the AAF. So...
Have you seen some of all those games have been playing in Birmingham, Alabama?
Really?
Yeah. So there's only one team that are actually from Birmingham, Alabama, and that team gets it at half decent turnout. And then all the other games, the stadium's just empty.
Oh no,
it's really depressing.
Is it on? It was on YouTube. I don't know. Is it still on YouTube this year? I've not got a clue. So, Griff, I think, used to be more involved in that sort of stuff. So
I'm sure he probably
still watches it. But yeah, NFC. So, sticking with trying to test the formula, we'll start in the East. So, last year, Dallas Cowboys came out on top, 12-5. What does this team need? They've lost Amari Cooper, but it isn't exactly like they were short on wide receivers, really. They've still got CeeDee Lamb, Gallup's back. So, what do the Dallas Cowboys need? Because, I mean, effectively, for them, anything other than making the playoffs is going to be a huge disappointment. And for McCarthy, what he needs is playoff wins.
This team, still on paper, should win this division comfortably.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, this team should be in at least the divisional game.
Yep.
But then Mike and the boys came in.
It's what they need is a new coach. I've got no confidence in Mike McCarthy whatsoever.
Bastard.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. No, I haven't either.
Like, you're right. Do you know what? I didn't even realise this. Looking at his depth chart, they signed James Washington. That's a sneaky good wide receiver.
Really good.
Absolutely.
And all right, you've lost Amari Cooper, but you've still got CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup. And then, like you say, you add James Washington, and you've got Dalton Schultz as tight end. That's good. Your 2 running backs are good. Your quarterback's good. The offensive line is still decent. The defense had a massive step up last year, and again looks pretty decent.
And hopefully a fit Leighton Van Der Esch.
Hopefully a fit Leighton Van Der Esch as well. And so yeah, like they just need someone to coach them to a high standard, and I don't think Mike McCarthy's that person.
I can't disagree. It's
not something you're going to be able to change now.
No, but
you probably could, but you'd get sued to hell.
Yep.
I mean,
and then who are you going to replace him with? Well, I mean, Dan Quinn could step in because he did a good job on the defense, but
also he's doing that good a job on the defense. You kind of want to leave him to do the defense.
I mean, it's just talked about it all off season. It's set up for Mike McCarthy to go at the end of the season and Sean Payton to step in.
Yeah, but
you're just going to have to write off this year.
But you're the Cowboys. You can't do that.
No. And it's not like, we said it in the first episode, it's not like the Giants where you're rebuilding and you're gradually getting rid of a lot of old players and bringing a lot of new players. This team on paper should be a Super Bowl contender, a genuine Super Bowl contender, not a Raiders-esque Griff Super Bowl contender, a genuine Super Bowl contender.
What a 32 team.
Yeah. But I can't get behind McCarthy, bastard, to lead them there.
Nope. Yeah, and they had their off season like the year before in the COVID year when Dak was injured and the offensive line was injured, and they played Andy Dalton and Garrett Gilbert.
And Ben DiNucci.
God, I forgot about Ben DiNucci.
But they have brought in reliable backup Will Greer.
I mean,
Ben DiNucci's still there.
And Cooper Rush, like he must have
the man who cannot be released.
He must have nude photos of
something on
Jerry Jones. But that's like, that they need, the defense to be consistent from last year, because I mean, Diggs had such a great year. It's actually like it's going to be so hard for him to have a year like that. Like, eventually, people are just going to stop throwing at him because how many interceptions did he have?
Did he get into double figures?
I think
no,
close.
Yeah,
he did 11 interceptions for 142 yards, 2 touchdowns.
But what's he done lately?
Like
that.
The guys obviously had a great year, but to expect the same again, like I'm sure it's possible. It's foolhardy. That is exactly it. And I mean, do you think Zeke is there next year? Because
yes, I do. I think
after the same as
Sue Pollard has elongated Zeke.
I think Zeke's contract is elongated Zeke no matter what, because it's just so expensive to get rid of him. But because I'm just going to mention the offensive line is great, but I still think
lost a few pieces,
and I expected them to get a lineman in the draft, and they didn't. So,
they had
what do I know?
They had to replace bits of the O-line, so they did what I expected them to do.
Yeah,
I think they wanted to draft earlier. That they hoped Zion Johnson was the one I heard that they wanted more than anything.
Should have traded up to get him then.
Yeah, but they didn't. So, Eagles. We're not going to let Jim say quarterback. So,
I wasn't going to say quarterback.
No,
he is above the league average currently.
Yay.
No, but
I mean,
for me, it's cornerback.
Yeah, the second cornerback. Darius Slay is decent, but
Darius Slay isn't the Darius Slay of 4 years ago at Detroit, but they've got a lot of lower round draft picks this year, last year. I see them making a move for a veteran. I think they need to bring in another veteran. And there's a lot of decent veterans on the free agents.
Yeah. Jack Rabbit-Jenkins, Joe Hayden, Kyle Fuller as cornerbacks are available. I mean, it's not just cornerback. They could also do some help at safety, because I think they've really replaced Malcolm Jenkins.
Malcolm Jenkins was old, though, man.
Oh, I know, but still they haven't replaced him, and I guess it's safety.
it is the backfield that they need help on.
It is backfield. You can quite easily throw over the Eagles. But did you see Davante Smith went to the 76ers game the other day and got announced as former Eagles
wide receiver.
um,
I like on the whole, I like what the Eagles have done. Like,
they drafted very well.
Drafted really well. I think they made some shrewd signings. I agree. Safety and another cornerback is where they're weakest, but they've got a really good defensive line. Like, a really good defensive line. You look at, it's going to be Fletcher Cox's last year, but then you've got a year with him and Jordan Davis coming in as a rookie. Javon Hargreave is still there. Brandon Graham is still there. Derek Barnett is still there. They're not stellar players, but they're solid.
And they know that scheme like the back of their hand.
Yeah, I think, last year we probably would have said that the Eagles were in a rebuilding mode. I think they seemingly haven't done much to rebuild. Okay,
they've also been very lucky that the
Yeah.
Commanders and the Giants
That's
just
just terrible.
absolutely sucked the big one.
Yeah, but they made. They drafted AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what? Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. Do you know what? I know Jalen Breger is nowhere near what he was supposed to be, but that's still a
It's gonna
first
still be
round wideout.
Still going to be. I mean, think of all those drops Jalen Reagor had. AJ Brown's not going to drop them.
No.
Jalen Hurts is going to prove me wrong this year because he's got a much better wide receiver core.
I can't deny. I think it's. I think they did go into rebuild because you lost Carson Wentz. You lost a lot of the O line that had protected him and Foles during that Super Bowl run. What they've done is they've shown that you can go into rebuild mode and actually
do it
quickly, and refresh your team. And it's strange that it's the Eagles that have done that.
I don't think they would have expected to be in the playoffs last year, realistically.
No, not at all.
I think they overachieved there, and credit to them. I mean, we were probably, there's no probably about it, we were slagging off the appointment of the head coach.
Sirianni
But he's had such a good year. I can't,
they're doing everything right so far.
Which is strange.
It's so not Eagles, but it's good that they're changing that. So
Let's move on to a franchise that does
the
everything
exact
wrong.
opposite. So the Washington
Commanders.
Commandeers, the Washington, whatever, the team formerly known as, I'm not gonna say, but yeah, so
Formerly known as the Washington football team.
it's formerly known as the Washington football team. Actually, once we mentioned this a few weeks ago when we went about what do we do if you are in charge of the NFL. With the Washington team actually isn't bad enough to be totally embarrassing. The thing is, what the whole thing behind the scenes is an abomination. But actually,
on the field
and
on paper, doesn't look terrible.
Carson Wentz has his detractors, who probably are
Numerous.
and would be one of them. One of the biggest would have normally be sat around this table. But Gibson and McKissick, decent running back room.
Yeah.
McLaurin,
Samuels,
Dotson.
All right, there's potential there.
Yeah.
Logan Thomas, tight end.
I really like him.
The offensive line's not terrible.
They've lost Scherf.
Yeah, which is a big loss.
I expected more from Chase Young last season.
Chase Young.
I think that was just a second season slump.
Yeah.
I think, safety is probably where they're weakest.
Landon Collins has gone, hasn't he? He was a sort of a safety linebacker. He can do them both.
Role.
Bitch for what he did to New York.
Yeah. They haven't replaced him. But once again, that's the only thing that they're missing. There's no depth. So any of these people get injured, there's nothing behind them. But the starting positions aren't bad. They aren't great.
Genuine question here. Who's going to start a quarterback? Carson Wentz or Taylor Heineke?
Wentz all day.
Wentz.
I would agree with you. I think they will probably start Wentz, but there's a very good chance that Heineke beats Wentz out in the cup. So I'm surprised there's no. So I was waiting for the smirk.
I could see Heineke beating him off. I could.
Yeah. Poor you.
But yeah,
That image now ingrained. It is. Yeah. I mean. Yeah. They look good on paper.
I mean, the thing is, we know we can slag off the Commanders for going. They went early in the quarterback.
They need a new owner. That's what
They need a new owner.
All
That's
right.
it. That's what they need.
Cool.
Fine. That's all that we'll go. We'll go with that.
I just don't feel. I just never felt a team that had confidence. You never felt like
No.
they never went into a game where you were like, they will comfortably win this.
Yeah. Even if they were playing like the Jaguars last year, you'd still be like,
Yeah.
Jaguars have got a chance.
Yeah. No. So let's move on. Giants 4-13. We've mentioned Bradbury's gone.
Cornerback, please. Just
cornerback,
one.
please.
Just one. Not needy.
I'm going to go with a fit running back.
That would help.
I think that helps immensely. If Saquon Barkley is fit for the whole season, it takes some pressure off Daniel Jones. It takes some pressure off the wide receivers because suddenly they get a bit more space because your opposing defense has to prepare for Saquon Barkley. It'll make the whole offense that little bit more better.
Yeah.
So I think if that happens, the Giants can win a few more games than they probably have done over the past couple of years. So that's what you need.
I could agree. I'd go with that. I think
do like Matt Brader coming in behind.
Yep. But I don't think he's Saquon Barkley.
he's not.
No,
He's Matt Brader who gets 400, 500 yards.
You'll have
season.
one good game and then get injured.
he's better
Yeah.
than Orleans Darkwa and Paul Perkins.
That's true.
I cannot deny that. But yeah, cornerback or running back.
Yeah.
As a Giants fan, a fit running back because the guy's talented, but yeah, and the changes on the O-line should help him. So
Definitely.
let's move into the North. Packers.
Wide receiver.
Yeah, I say it every fucking year. Not that I expect Goodicons to be listening to this podcast, but
I would also
I wonder if we're going to say the same thing.
tight end.
Tight end. Yeah.
Tonyan's coming off a torn ACL. Tonyan's a very good player, but Mercedes Lewis is 37.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And name another player on their team who's at tight end.
Well, I can because I've got it in front of me.
Wait.
Tyler Davis.
Who?
Yeah, and Josiah Deguar. Yeah.
Jim's having a stroke.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I mean,
Late at night.
how long has Mercedes Lewis been there?
Yeah, a few years.
He was at the Jags before because he
Was it
scored
the-
3
Yeah,
touchdowns
Jags
in
for
one
ages.
game.
He's been there
Or Jeff
3 years.
Same year.
3 years, and he's never
He's never been
156, 107,
Yeah.
214 yards.
Yeah.
Obviously,
he's never been the lead tight end.
he
He's
doesn't-
behind Jimmy Graham for most of those 3 years.
he's behind
isn't he?
Tonyan,
And
whatever.
behind Tonyan.
But obviously has no trust from Rodgers, and that's what
all right, so
he needs.
yeah, so the wide receivers, the draft of Christian Watson, who I've got a draft crash on. I think he's going to be great. I think he looks really good in the number 9 shirt as well. Duncan, I think that's the next shirt you should buy because you don't have the Gary curse. But
Until this year.
yeah, it's Alan Lazard, Christian Watson, Sammy Watkins is their top 3 wide receivers. The biggest issue last year was that Aaron Rodgers only trusted Davante Adams.
Yeah.
So, Cobb's there as well. You've got Alan Lazard and Cobb who weren't trusted.
Randy.
Yeah. So, is he going to trust Watson and Watkins?
He'll have to. I quite like if getting rid of Davante Adams brought capital in, which they need,
Yep.
and also forces him to do different. They felt predictable.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, what they needed was a change. But yeah, I mean, once again, you can't replace Davante Adams. The guy was a force of nature.
One of the best in the league.
But are you going to get? Can you get like the same production out of Watkins, Watson together? I don't know.
But I felt Rodgers was at his best when he was throwing to multiple. When you had Jordy Nelson and
Yeah.
Randy Cobb,
Yeah.
that was, for me, the sweet spot.
Yeah, no,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, the biggest reason they didn't win that playoff game against the 49ers is because he wouldn't throw to anyone else.
Yeah.
It's the biggest single reason.
That's it. No.
Because the 49ers cornerback room.
It's shit. It's better now, but back then it was shit.
Yeah. No.
What's your 40 time? Oh, starts with a 4. You'll beat me.
Okay, so well, there's some desperate times here. Vikings coming. Vikings new coach, same quarterback, but
quarterback wasn't a problem.
Quarterback is not a problem. Defense has been a problem for Vikings for a while.
It's injuries because Daniil Hunter is, when fit, is a threat.
Yep.
You have to plan for Daniil Hunter.
Yep.
Now you just chop block him at the knees and he's out for 10 weeks.
Yep.
They bought Zadarius Smith, which I thought was a quality signing.
Yeah, I love that. And
knows the division.
If those two, like you say, those two players are fit, because Zadarius Smith hasn't had a great run of fitness. If those two players are fit, that's a good pass rush. What I worry about is what's in the middle in terms of Harrison Phillips, Dalvin Tomlinson, and Jalen Wyman, who I've never heard of. I think, and then behind them, the linebackers are Kendricks and Hicks in the middle. I
like Kendricks.
I do as well, but I think you can run through the middle of that defense.
Yeah, I think you really can.
I know I say this position too much, but tight end.
Herb Smith Jr., I kind of like us, but he had injury problems.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he had a good season this year.
Yeah, same.
He needs to.
He definitely needs to. I think he's one of those tight ends now. He's had a couple of years in the league. I think now he needs to have that big year.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's the pass rush. I think that's huge turning up. They seem to have been for the last few years the sort of opposite of Belichick, and they basically take good quarterbacks and turn them into shit. So hopefully that doesn't affect Booth Jr., the new draftee. But Bears.
Wideouts.
If we don't all say wideouts here, then I don't.
Yeah, I mean, we
talked about it a bit last week. I just think that they've completely failed Justin Fields.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'd be absolutely, if I was him, I'd be absolutely fuming over that. What's happened in the draft and what's happened in free agency. Okay, yeah, you bought in Byron Pringle.
Yay!
What do you fucking do?
For me as well.
Yeah,
it's at one point they had 10 tight ends in that team.
Yeah,
the 4 they have now suck.
Yeah.
Again, Cole Kmet could have a good season, but I'm being hopeful. I don't like what. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't like what they've done. I mean, now Khalil Mack's gone. That might be a good thing, but it's hard to see that. I seriously think the Bears could be in trouble this year.
Same. As in a slightly sad state of affairs, I think they could need a bad year to help build, but
they could still go out and sign Jarvis Landry.
They could still sign.
Jarvis Landry would go straight into wide receiver 1.
I mean,
Darnell Mooney, Byron Pringle, Velus Jones Jr., and Equanimous St. Brown, and David Moore.
Will Fuller goes in there. He's their wide receiver number 1.
Yep.
Easy.
Yeah, but they've already have injured players.
Look, he's better than what they have. Markedly better.
I agree with you. He's better, but he's also more of a test for your physio than he is for your offensive coordinator.
He missed more games last year because of a drugs ban rather than injury, so he is fresh. Very fresh if he's coming off a drugs ban. He's a talented player. There's not many talented receivers out there, but if I was Fields, I would be absolutely fuming. And as well, I don't see it getting any better anytime soon because it's they've not helped. It's all because of the fact they fired Nagy too late.
Well, yeah, I think it's even worse. It's a new GM, it's a new head coach, and yet they've made they've got the same problems which we've probably been speaking about for the last 2-3 years.
Yeah. Okay, Lions.
They're going to be my favourite teams.
They're the new Browns.
Yeah, they are the new Browns. Everyone wants them to win. Everyone wants them to be good. I do.
Apart from Gary.
Apart from Gary, but yeah, he's a cock.
I mean, they were whatever they were. They were 3-13-1 last year, so they do have spots to fill. But I mean,
this is a team that I realise Barry Sanders sets a very, very high standard for what a running back should be in any player in a Lions uniform. But then Kerryon Johnson was okay. He was serviceable, but I'd love them to actually have a running back.
DeAndre Swift.
No,
he looked good. He did look good.
Staying fit is the issue.
Staying fit is the issue, but that is a running back. It's not just a DeAndre Swift
thing.
thing.
They don't need. They don't need a tight end.
No.
Not at all.
Hawkinson could have a great year.
I like Hawkinson.
Yeah.
They've bought in DJ Shark.
I like that.
$10 million a year as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's coming off an injury, but, you know.
Mental injury of being at the Browns.
I mean, yeah.
Sorry, the Jags.
Him on one side, Amon-Ra St. Brown on the other.
Jamison Williams.
Yes.
Coming in as a rookie.
Jared Goff is okay. He's not the problem there.
No.
I think if you look at that, you add in DeAndre Swift and TJ Hawkinson. The offensive line is actually pretty good. Like, yeah, Penisiel at right tackle, Taylor Decker at left tackle, slightly older, but Frank Ragnow in the middle. Guard, you could kind of, okay, not brilliant, but that's the makings of a better offense than we had this time last year for the Lions. I've got more confidence in that offense this year than I have last year.
Yeah.
I think the attitude at which they played last year, I think was brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, they're one of the teams, like the...
Remind me of the Jets under Bowles, where the team was toilet, but they played for him.
Played hard. And it's the complete opposite of Urban Meyer.
Yep.
Who, on paper, that Jags team was better than the Lions team, but he just could not get anything out of his players.
Yeah. Well, bizarrely, if you don't kick them, they might play for you.
That, if you don't physically assault your players,
or they
actually respect you a bit more.
Take time off to go finger a girl in a bar.
Jeff Okudah as well.
He needs to have a season, doesn't he?
He does.
He needs to be fit first.
Well, that as well.
But even when he's fit,
I think that backfield is probably the area where, again, there's question marks over the safeties and the cornerbacks.
Yeah.
Okudah was a number 3 overall pick 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And that should give results.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he won every award, basically.
He should be, if you want to compare him to someone else that's taken a similar position, Jalen Ramsey.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's a very different trajectory for him. So, South. Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I've heard of them.
I mean, they've got their quarterback back. I imagine they'll have their tight end as well.
Just a matter of time. Wait until the training camp's
gone.
His training camp's just driving around Tampa being a tosser.
Basically, yeah.
Just got Chris Godwin back on a long-term contract.
I mean, what a play he is.
Yep.
I mean,
they have Mike Evans, who's the best wideout in the league, and I don't care what you say, he is. The man gets 1,000-yard season.
Yeah, I mean,
possibly. He doesn't. DeAndre Hopkins is quarterback proof. So's that guy.
I mean, he played with James Winston for a while, so yeah, you're probably right.
He made Johnny Manziel get drafted early.
Yes, that's absolutely true. I completely agree with you that.
Yeah.
For me, it's linebacker for the Buccaneers.
I would go pass rush. The edge rush specifically. I think they're fine at middle linebacker. Shaquille Barrett, I think, is still good. I think on the other side, now without Jason Pierre-Paul, there's question marks.
Because they've lost Sue and Pierre-Paul, haven't they, this year? So
they can do with a hand.
It's some
never gets old, that one, does it?
Some big shirts to fill there, but
big gloves to fill.
Yeah, but it is what it is. Like, I think hasn't Vita Vea got a massive contract now
and a massive name too?
Yeah,
and a massive shirt.
I mean,
He's a big guy.
He is massive. The footage of him trying to be
Trying to take off that shirt in the background.
it's just brilliant. But oh, there you go. Logan Ryan is at the Bucks.
That's a quality signing.
He's there. Yeah, free safety.
I mentioned linebacker because Jordan Whitehead.
Yeah,
went to the Jets.
Yeah.
That was just depth went from the
Devin. I mean, middle linebacker Devin White and Levante David is still quality.
Oh yeah, middle. Yeah, maybe on the outside.
It's the other side of Shaquille Barrett, like
inside linebacker.
Yeah,
yeah. I can. I agree with you there. But once again, it's a team without men.
Hard to see them not competitive.
Should have walked to the division.
Mm-hmm.
The Saints 9-8 last year. Actually, like they've pulled some cap magic and. I don't know if what they're doing is just putting it further down the line in the hope that people will leave in the meantime.
Do you know what I think the Saints could do with? The
tight end?
Big bastard at running back. Kamara, for me, was more dangerous when it was Kamara and Ingram. Oh, of course, Mark Ingram's right there.
Back, yeah.
Sorry, I forget Mark Ingram rejoined.
Went back, yeah. But then it's Mark Ingram 5 years later.
Yeah.
For me, it's wide out.
Michael Thomas back this year.
Michael Thomas back, who
drafted Olave.
Yeah.
But I still think they need more.
Second year for Marcus Callaway.
Who else is there? Marcus Callaway, but
Little Jordan Humphrey.
Lil Jordan.
It's literally called Little Jordan Humphrey. I don't think he's little either.
Deontay Harris.
No, I realise it's
a bit of a field stretcher.
Traquan Smith. Kevin White's there. Blast from the past.
But none of those players come into your team. Well, yeah, are good. Yeah. If I was to say to you as a 49ers fan, don't worry, we're bringing in Traquan White.
We had Kevin White last year for a while.
So Traquan Smith.
Yeah. It's not good.
It's not exciting.
No.
Yeah. I mean, even Michael Thomas coming back, he's had a year and a half off.
Is he going to be the same?
Is it going to be the same? And, as well, he doesn't have Drew Brees.
Yeah, he doesn't have that.
Or Sean Payton.
This is the question. I think that Sean Payton loss is a bigger loss.
Yeah.
Because I think the defense with Dennis Allen still there, I think that'll be fine. It's whether you can recreate the creativeness of Sean Payton, who effectively is quarterback proof. Like to go 9-8 last year.
Yeah.
With 5 games with James Winston, but then whoever else they played.
Taysom Hill.
Trevor Siemian, yeah.
Ian Book
for a game. I mean, they've got Andy Dalton now.
Ian Book. If I can bring back one of our old podcast favourites, shat the bed.
But that's another thing, actually. Like I think with there's a. I don't know if love is the word, but I think there's a desire to see Jameis Winston. I think not be shit.
Yes.
And there was some promising signs last season in the few games he played. Like there were games where suddenly he looked like he had a sensible head on his shoulders, and he wasn't just chucking it in the air because there was no options. But then he also did have games where he just chucked it in the air because he had no options.
They were 5-2.
He's also coming off an ACL. And that is not a fun injury.
But
Wentz has never come back from his ACL injury, has he?
But also, Winston wasn't as mobile in the pocket. He seemed to be regressing back to being a bit of a pocket passer anyway.
But no, there's a lot of change at the Saints. I agree. I'd like to see a good big running back to complement Kamara. They've lost an astounding left tackle.
And whether Trevor Penning, who they drafted, can step into those big shoes.
I have liked watching the footage of him as a college player, and one game I watched him throw the defensive end into his own quarterback. It was absolutely mental. Brilliant. Absolutely bizarre passage. He is a nasty tackle. It's going to be fun, but you always get the feeling he's going to give away a lot of penalties in the NFL. So
Falcons? Is it Falcons or Panthers next?
It is the Falcons because the Panthers came last. So Falcons, they've obviously got Mariota to replace Matty Ice. Although I don't think that's the side of the ball they need to change most. I think the defense is still
Dross.
bad.
Dross, I think, has been nice.
Dross is big. Yeah, it is true.
Shower of bastards.
Yeah, I'm looking at the lineup.
Grady Jarrett.
Grady
Sunday
Jarrett is it.
Contract. That's it.
That is it. It's a list of either
Average.
people I don't
Very
know, young or just like at the end of their careers.
I mean, Marcus Mariota aside, I think they'll be sneaky good on offense, but I just think that you're right. The defense is just nothing there. Deion Jones,
Yeah,
and Grady Jarrett. Apart from that, there's no one there. I think we'll get in many other teams.
no, I agree.
It's such a shame, Calvin Ridley.
Especially on the line.
anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley is a huge loss.
Having Calvin Ridley, they're Drake London, isn't they?
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley, Drake London, and Carl Pitts is a threat.
Cordell Patterson as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The ultimate gadget player.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, even without that, I quite like knowing what the Falcons were able to do with Patterson last year. I like the core of Mariota, Patterson, London, Carl Pitts. I think there could be some interesting plays there, and it could be quite exciting. But that defense is just
Yeah,
it's a whole defense.
it's the whole defense.
Virtually.
Yeah, but the line in particular is awful.
Yeah.
So more linemen, please, if you want to be taken seriously. Not that they're listening. Panthers. Where do we start with Panthers?
I'm going to start at quarterback.
So, are you saying that
Sam Darnold
is not the one?
answer. I'm also saying that I don't think Matt Corral will be the answer, and I don't think the offensive line will do them any favours.
I see it as defense because Brian Burns came in and was wonderful.
It was brilliant.
But he had Harson Reddick the other side of him. Harson Reddick moved to the Eagles. Suddenly Brian Burns' stats fall off a cliff. Also, because the Panthers as a team fell off a cliff last season.
I think the defense in the whole is okay. I quite like some of the players. I like Jeremy Chin, the strong safety. I like Dante Jackson, the cornerback. Brian Burns, I think, is class. I like Derek Brown in the middle. Yetil Gross-Matos needs to have a season to prove himself. I like Chad Thompson. I think there's some good players there. I think they can make something of that.
No star, though, is there?
I'd say Brian Burns.
I read some detail about Clowney going there because he's
I think that would be a decent.
born in Charlotte.
Yeah, I think that would be a decent signing. But
Sorry, grew up in Charlotte.
Yeah, I for an offense-minded coach in Matt Rule, there's more question marks on the offensive side of the ball. I like some of the pieces. I like McCaffrey, DJ Moore. Robbie Anderson on his day can be a good wide receiver.
Hands of stone, Robbie Anderson.
Yeah. I like that they've signed a decent left tackle for the first time in something like 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
So, but I can't, Sam Darnold's had his day. He's going to be a backup for the rest of the season, the rest of his career. He's not a starting quarterback.
He's got a Hofstetler in his future.
Yeah, potentially.
It's true.
They need a quarterback to build around. Do we really think Sam Darnold's going to be there this time next year?
No, not at all. No, he'll be second on a depth chart somewhere else.
It just did feel like that at the moment the team seems to be going through a let's burn it down phase.
I feel like they don't know what they are.
Yeah, I think that there's a feeling that we could burn it down, but
they've got a lot of good players.
The team is too good in a way to burn it down. They can't burn it down, and as well they've got $20 million a year lost on the bench in the physio room because McCaffrey is a game changer when he's fit, but he's not been fit for 2 years now, and it's a shame because he's brilliant on his day, but
okay on his day. I don't think I can't point to one game where Sam Darnold's been brilliant.
Oh no, McCaffrey.
Oh, sorry, McCaffrey.
Oh no, Darnold.
He is brilliant.
McCaffrey is brilliant. Darnold is a passable quarterback at the moment.
Sorry, I jumped ahead to look at the Rams depth chart.
Yes, but I'm not. Yeah, Darnold's gone. I'm sorry. So, final division, NFC West, Rams.
Left tackle.
Yes. Yeah. He's gone to the retirement home.
Joe Noteboom is the current left tackle.
Yeesh.
No, Joe Noteboom, not Yeesh.
Sorry. Though.
Though it's pronounced yeesh in the native dialect.
Okay.
I mean Whitworth. Obviously, he's a huge
man. Generally,
huge fan man,
he's a big
and
guy.
a huge boots to fill. And yeah, not just
Leadership
as a player, he was a leader.
But I think they've got some of that. I mean, some of the leadership falls now to kind of Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp. I think actually bringing in players like Bobby Wagner is I'm massively jealous of that.
I think
that's
a
fine.
massive kick in the arse to everyone in the fucking league, isn't it? Like, yeah, we won the Super Bowl. Yeah, we're also bringing
and
in.
they brought in Allen Robinson as well, who I think is a good wide receiver.
I think he's huge.
Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, and OBJ. If he
And
comes
Van
back,
Jefferson.
that's a terrifying wideout room.
Yeah, it really is.
That is the league's best wideout room.
Yeah, potentially.
Even without OBJ, that's one of the best wideout rooms in the league.
Without OBJ, it's good. With OBJ,
it's brilliant.
it's yeah.
I mean, I know Gary disagrees with me, but Allen Robinson, like he's had Dross throwing to him for his whole career, and he's always produced.
He has,
And now he's got Matt Stafford
yeah.
with Cooper Kupp on the other side.
It got sad to watch him at the end, basically just chasing overthrown
And he's
balls.
still only like 29
Yeah, no.
in the prime.
He did lose a couple of years to injury, which I know is, but it also means that there isn't as much tread on the tyres.
Sorry, he's 28.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, so left tackle. Look, Joe Noteboom might be good, but it's just it's one of the most important positions on the team, and Matt Stafford isn't exactly known for his scrambling abilities.
No, I mean, let's have it's the Rams. I mean, let's prophesize. What are they? At some point, they're probably going to bring in a player. If could you imagine? They could probably do with replacing the guy gone to the Bills, Von Miller. Who made it. Yeah, sorry, but he made an impact last year.
Yeah.
On their, they've got Leonard Floyd on the other side.
Still got Aaron Donald in the middle.
Still got Aaron Donald in the middle. Yeah, but I mean, Von Miller. I know you can't just replace Von Miller, but you could. I could imagine if a edge rusher became available,
they'd go out and get him.
They can go and get him. So yeah, and I imagine they can probably do better than a Clowney, who's seemingly choosing between Carolina and Cleveland. Like, yeesh. But anyway,
His league minimum comes to the Rams.
Yeah, you'd take that, wouldn't you?
Oh God, yeah. So Cardinals.
See, I was thinking wide out.
Yep.
But this is a team which I feel they've put good talent on the pitch, and they've got rid of good talent as well, like Hakeem Butler.
Let it go.
Never. He's going to rip the arse out of the CFL.
They
and
could
you'll all
use a couple of editions of the Yellow Pages.
Yeah.
Because if Kyler Murray was about 3 feet taller, then he'd be really good.
No, because he does fumble a lot, and because he's so close to the ground, he can pick it up. His lost fumbles is quite short for a person who makes as many fumbles as he does. Wide out, they've added Marquise Brown, haven't they?
Yeah.
His mate.
All right.
He's
to
okay, but I see him very much like Michael Pittman Jr.
Yeah, he should never have been worth a first-round pick.
It was draft tax, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but the Eagles got AJ Brown for a first-round pick.
Yeah, I know.
Am I unreasonable in thinking a wide receiver one in a team should get 1,000 yards?
No,
Well, the
I think that's fair.
wide receiver one is DeAndre
He's
Hopkins.
going to be out for 6 games.
I know, but Rondell Moore
Was okay.
was fine.
So,
I kind of expected more,
I
actually.
don't think it's wide receiver. I think
No, it's
I think it's something on the defense.
cornerback.
I think it's pass rush. You've got to replace Chandler Jones.
True. Yeah, no, that's.
Like, let's be honest. JJ Watt is brilliant. He'll probably go into Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, you can't be defensive player
not gonna-
3 times.
He's not going to stay fit for 17 games, is
No.
he? So you've lost. So let's be optimistic and say JJ Watt lasts 10 games. I think that's fair. So for 7 games, you haven't got Watt or Chandler.
Yeah, that's a huge
Who's
loss.
going to go and get the quarterback?
Matt Dickerson from the, or Zach Allen. No, they could do with more help on the pass rush.
And then, the best thing about having a pass rush is it hurries quarterbacks, and that's where quality cornerbacks then jump up. And their right cornerback is Marco Wilson.
Who?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I think Buda Baker's brilliant.
yeah,
But
Best in the league.
yeah, other than that defense is
Byron Murphy, Jeff Gladney aren't awful.
no. I agree. Byron Murphy could be good, but he hasn't proved it yet.
No,
I just think looking through that defense, I'm just like, ooh, that can be attacked. And when you've got the Rams in that division, the NFC West. So the NFC West is playing the AFC West this year. So you're coming up against the Raiders, the Chiefs, the
4
Broncos,
teams that
and the
have all
Chargers,
improved.
who've all got good quarterbacks and good wide receivers.
yeah. If you're in an arms race, they're the teams you don't want to.
Yeah.
If you're easy to throw against, that's.
So yeah,
Even in your own division, you don't want to come up against Stafford, Cup, Allen Robinson, potentially OBJ, with a second choice style secondary. So yeah, I'm
it's a coin flip between pass rush and cornerback.
Yeah, I agree there. 49ers.
Heard of them.
Good team, really great in the 80s.
And not bad in the 90s either.
Not bad in the 90s. And, they lose a lot of Super Bowls since then. So.
At least we got there.
But true. But when we do, we win.
Just you got Tom Brady's number.
Mate, if it wasn't for the Mannings, the Brady would have like 12 Super Bowl rings. Yeah. So, yeah, what? I don't know, like, I'm not huge. Offensive line, no, because that's fine.
That's all right. I think.
Do we say cornerback?
Cornerback, when they brought in Charvary, no, I can't pronounce that. They brought in Ward.
Charvarius Ward from
Kansas. From Kansas, who is a sneaky good signing, I think. And defense is fine. Yeah, okay, we could have had more depth at cornerback and maybe a bit more depth at safety, but it's fine. I think the pass rush is good enough to compensate that. I want a bit of decisiveness. I want to know who's the quarterback.
Yes. Well,
because they're 2 very different quarterbacks. So whether we're going to go with Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo, that can't be the same game plan for both of them. It's not like a one for the one pick and choose. If it's Trey Lance, there needs to be a game plan that fits his play. If it's Jimmy Garoppolo, then we need to kind of carry on doing what we're doing for the last couple of years. I want it to be Trey Lance because I want to see what we got.
The way you drafted him and the capital you spent to draft him, you have to invest in him.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to. Okay, he's had a year sitting. I think that's fine, but we need to see what he's got now.
I still, if they can find a way to shop him, I still think Garoppolo goes.
Yeah,
because if Garoppolo goes as well, that frees you the money for Debo.
Yeah,
And I think that's the signing you need. That's the.
I think that's the domino that needs to fall. I think that everything Debo said about, I don't want to live in California, I don't like whatever way I was used. I think that's all bullshit. I think it just comes down to money.
It's obviously just bargaining tools and whatever else.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean,
I'd say like depth wide receiver. Like if Debo does go, you got Brandon Ayuk, and then you've got a whole load of nothing.
yes,
Brandon Ayuk's flat to
see at times, but there's a very good player in there, and he's shown it in fits and starts. But that's how some receivers are.
I'd also say, like we said for the Ravens, I still think we have a fitness issue.
Yes,
we still seem to get a lot of injuries.
No,
there is an ACL specialist in the Bay Area who's having the time of his life.
I know, right?
4 or 5 years.
Like we've still got D Ford, and he's played about 4 games in the last 3 years that we've had him.
I mean,
I know he keeps coming back on a cap-friendly deal, but still.
And when he does play, he is very good, and he allows your Bosa and everyone else to be as just destructive as they are. But it's a shame.
So decisive move over. Who's the QB? Let's get on and move on.
Yep, I agree. I'm with you there. And last and not least, last and potentially least, Seattle Seahawks.
We just say quarterback.
So they're holding a 3-man quarterback competition. Geno Smith, Drew Lock, and Jacob Eason. Whoa, that sucks.
It does.
It's just, I've heard Pete Carroll talk over the last week saying, not going to bring in another quarterback. These are the quarterbacks, and saying something about if Drew Lock was in the draft this year, he would have been the #1 quarterback. It's hard to actually disagree given the dross of quarterback in this year, but it just doesn't inspire me with confidence.
No.
Seattle doesn't consider itself a rebuilding team.
So they drafted as if they are
building
in a win now position, and
they won't win now.
I mean, no. I mean they have 2 first-round picks next year, don't they?
Yep.
Because of the Wilson deal.
Wilson trade. Do you want to know who their cornerbacks are? Artie Burns and Sidney Jones are 4th.
I mean, that's hardly the Legion of Boom, is it?
They're paying the safeties like Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams an extortionate amount of money for 2 safeties. I mean, they're both good players. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, I
Legion of Gloom.
Yeah,
some of my favourite players of the last 15, 20 years are safeties. You've got
Troy Polamalu and Ed Reed.
Yeah. But
Derwin James.
Derwin James for you yourself. But yes, it's so weird.
There's a lot of money invested in their safety position, and like the pass rush, I don't think there's much there. I don't think there's much linebacker. I think Noah Fant, a tight end, who was part of the Wilson trade. I think that was a good move, and also he's played with Drew Lock, so I hope there's some chemistry there. And I like their wide receivers. DK Metcalf can run in a straight line really fast.
Yes.
Tyler Lockett is still. No, but Tyler Lockett without Wilson is a very different quantity.
Yeah, I think we've got.
That is true.
Also, there's the potential for a very different quality here.
Yeah,
it's difficult to look at that team and say they don't need a quarterback because they've got 3 backup quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's strange. Chris Carson as well. I took him in fantasy because he's
great for the first 4 games.
Great for the first 4 games, and then the fact that he's coming off a huge neck injury. Rashad Penny is he showed glimpses of being a half decent player last year. It's
taken him 4 years.
Yeah, at that point, where points he's run behind DJ Dallas. It is a strange team.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where I don't really understand what they're doing.
No.
I think at the point at which they let Russell Wilson leave the building, that should have been the point where I was like, right, burn it down, start again. Yep, trade DK Metcalf, see what we can get for him. What can we get for everyone else? in terms of draft picks to build for the future. And Pete, we're going to keep you on for another year just to see us through this because it's going to be a crap year.
Yeah.
And we don't want to burden that on a new coach. But next year, you know, we're going to bring in a new coach. We're going to bring in a new GM. We're going to draft a new quarterback. So we've got, you know, good draft capital to perhaps move up.
It's due to be a better draft for quarterbacks.
Yeah. So why didn't they just trade DK Metcalf and get rid of anyone else and go right? You know, we're not gonna visibly tank on the field, but off the field, yeah, we're gonna get rid of all our good players.
And as well, they could be falling behind teams like the Giants, who aren't going to have a good season, and are probably going to want a new quarterback. You're going to fall behind. The Lions might be tempted.
If you put this team against the Lions, you're going to have a heart. I'd probably go with the Lions.
At the moment, I'd go with the Lions, but like if they have, let's say they fluke their way to another 7-10 season, they are in the middle of the draft, and there's teams out there that are going to fall behind them, who want a quarterback. They're going to have to use their multiple picks to move up potentially, and then it's a lot of money on potential when you had a top 5 quarterback.
They'll end up beating the 49ers twice because the Seahawks always do. But the rest of the NFC West games they'll probably lose. And like we said, they got to play the AFC West. I can't see them beating any of the AFC West teams.
No, really.
So that's 8 losses right there.
Good fun. But yeah.
10. 8. I was right the first time.
Yeah. But
well, I can't see this Seahawks team beating the Niners. That's 10 losses.
I mean, there's still, there are quarterbacks that are going to come available. So obviously you've got Mayfield. Who knows what's going to happen with Jimmy G? But
realistically, he's not going to be traded.
He's not going to be traded in division.
Unless you're offered something insane, which they wouldn't do.
They won't do. Because, even then, Jimmy's going to be a transitional quarterback. But other than that, then I'm really... You're basically looking at... Maybe you could get a Minshew from Philadelphia or something.
You're scraping the barrel.
But that's it. I'm really scraping the barrel now. Yeah. Bridgewater from Dolphins, but I don't think they want to get rid of him.
They're going to keep him.
So yeah, I don't know what they're going to do.
Really, RG3 attracted interest in teams after he in the coverage.
Yeah, you say he ran a really quick 40, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, anyone who showed any interest in him after that should have to hand back their scout badges, because that just shows how little they go into it.
The NFC South is the other opponents, which the NFC West are going to be playing. So that's okay. They could beat they got the Falcons and the Panthers at home. That could be a win.
Panthers potentially,
but then they're away to the Bucks and the Saints. And I
mean, they're all just as mad and shit as each other, aren't they? Quite frankly, who knows? But right. We'll just leave it there because we've gone another hour on the NFC now. So we'll leave you here. It's a double episode this week because
we love you so much.
Because we love you guys so much, and because we just kept talking. But we'll see you next week, or who knows what we'll be discussing as we sort of blindly muddle through this off season. But until then, good night.